the Billowing Hilltop podcast. It's just me this time. Just me and the cat. Hello, Squidge. You don't know the secret of the Billowing Hilltop, do you, Squidge? No. Okay. I'd like to take this opportunity to say thanks for listening. I hope you're enjoying yourselves. You can find us at billowinghilltop.com or look for us on Facebook and Twitter. And it really helps us if you rate, review and subscribe on your podcast app of choice. And that's it. That's all I got. So without further ado, let's get on with episode 9, Rastophan Vibration. Sorry, what was that? Oh, I think it's transmutation, isn't it? Can everybody be quiet? Now, Paul.
Yes.
Will you check on him? Will you just check on Johnny?
Yeah.
Is everything okay there?
I think he's wearing his special pajamas.
Has he been tucked in nicely?
Okay, so let's keep our voices just down at the beginning. Okay. And Graham, would you mind running Grimbold for this session?
I can try and do that.
Yeah, okay, tiptoe away. Okay. Johnny's asleep. We're going to play without him. One thing that we could maybe touch upon is hearth spirits. So this homestead has got a fireplace, and every fireplace, every dwelling in which people live, tends to have a hearth spirit. There are thousands of gods in this world in which our story is set, and there are gods for all sorts of weird and wonderful things. When you were in town the other day, you saw Wirangiris, and he's the priest of Tonge, the Eye of Wisdom. Sessions Epa, he worships the Lady Luck, Miss Fortune, and then there are all sorts of other weird and wonderful little gods for all sorts of... there's the Lord of Fruit, there's Winzim, filler of cupboards, there's Jella, the godlet of shoes, Tiny Arthur, the godlet of wagons, Banjetti, the mistress of chance meetings. And pretty much every element, every event in this world, people kind of attribute to the intervention of a god. The other thing that is interesting about the gods of this world is that the more that they're believed in, the larger their following, the greater power they have. So there is a god called the Twisted Prince, and the Twisted Prince used to actually intervene in people's lives. He would run a thumb along the blade of this knife and sit and talk to people and try and persuade them into nefarious schemes. And the more that they followed his advice, the more that they inserted themselves into the world of treachery and bad behavior, the stronger he became. And he used to be regarded as a rather minor figure. But over the last few years, the sense is that the Twisted Prince has become increasingly powerful. There's Deborah Kadabra, who is the goddess of magic. There's Asmodee. He is a major deity. He is the Lord of Evil. And then, of course, there is Urt, who is the Moulder of Worlds. He's the creator of the world, the master of doubt, the enemy of detail, friend, guide, and storyteller. And his symbol is a six-sided dice. Right, hearth spirits, every dwelling that has people living in it, that has a hearth spirit. They watch over the fortunes of the family. People don't worship their hearth spirits, but they nurture them. And a healthy hearth spirit is meant to bring fortune on a family, fortune on a dwelling. For example, Cuthbert Ouch Splinter is from the very wealthy family, the Ouch Splinters in Evenstar. And in fact, their original family home, the original family dwelling, which is really just a very modest little house in a not particularly attractive area of town, is still maintained by the family because the hearth spirit still burns away and looks after the family. Even though they are now spread, they're a big mercantile family. They have agents traveling the world, they trade, they get involved in all sorts of stuff, but they still depend upon the fortune and the good blessing of the hearth spirit that sits in that original house.
The reason you tell us this? That was very good.
Bit of background, isn't it?
Oh, okay.
Bit of fact in background.
I thought you were going to get to something about the house that we're currently in.
There's no hearth spirit. So in the homestead, one way you can tell that this is no longer a dwelling, that the family are dead or gone, it's abandoned, is there's no sense that there's a hearth spirit. Even with the fire unlit, one can normally tell if there is a spirit or an energy residing within the hearth. The other thing you found in this building was the arm.
With a tattoo?
An arm with a tattoo. And that tattoo you recognize. It's the tattoo of a mine manager called Garav Invest, a greedy mine manager who branded all his employees with it as a sort of badge of status. But he was bankrupted by the new force in town, Balabar Smenk, a few years ago. And he died only last year. And all of his bonded workers were kind of slaves to Garav Invest, and they regard their current arrangement, where their indenture, as it were, has been passed across to Balabar Spank. They regard that as being a big step up, a kind of privilege. And your understanding is that specifically there is a gang that does the dirty work for Balabar Spank. Now that Madame Watch of the Lodge, Madame Watch of the Lodge, who used to be his kind of hired muscle, with her backup gang of Digger and JJ and so forth. She killed somebody in a fight outside the Feral Dog in town and fled, became an exile. And his new set of heavies are these guys. The leader is a guy called Cullen, and they hang out at the Feral Dog, your favourite pub, the pub where the police drink.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to go back to town, do we, to confront this guy or these guys?
Well, let's search around first.
Yeah, I mean, putting two and two together, it looks like this gang have robbed the graves and they've left one of their number behind. If you're after the bones, that would seem logical.
So we can go, but we could also try following the tracks.
Yeah.
So I think that we follow the tracks until we lose the tracks, and then kind of take it from there.
Is there any more of the arm body left? The body that goes with the arm?
It's splattered all over the floor. When you were first running into the homestead, there were sort of chunks of human matter spread everywhere that looked like they'd been owl-beared.
Yeah.
Well,
we should probably pull them all together and lay them to rest.
Okay, yeah. Good idea. You take out your holy symbol.
Yep. Dig a small, shallow grave and put them in.
Okay.
Say a few words. And
including the arm?
Leave the arms sticking up out of the ground.
I think put all of it in.
Okay. Fine.
And we'll just mark it so it's clear where it was.
Yeah. Okay, if you want to try and follow the tracks, make a survival check. Somebody give me a survival check.
That's annoying.
I'm rubbish. Survival.
+2 on survival.
I get a 13.
Mm-hmm.
Dan gets a 17 bonus.
17's good enough.
Oh, God.
I say I'm rubbish, but
3.
it's only relative. I'm really very good at everything.
Only an 8, so you are a survivor.
So, yeah, you can follow the cart. These are the cart tracks you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, you follow them for long enough to realise they head back up the track to the main road, the company road that runs up to the cairn from town, but they turn left towards town.
Could we, do we know how old they are by looking at them?
Well, your sense from looking at the snow build-up on the piles of discarded earth from when the graves were dug out was that this had happened within the last week.
Okay. And the tracks, likewise, we can tell.
Likewise, and because of the snow, I mean, these trails get chewed up. It just becomes muddy slush. But you can follow them with enough kind of certainty to the point where they just mix up with all of the other cart tracks. Yeah, there's a certain point, Burple, as you get really quite close to town, you get to the point where the tracks of this cart merge with the tracks of many others, and it becomes impossible to tell them apart.
Don't we know where they hang out? Or can we find out where they hang out?
You do know where they hang out. They hang out at your favourite pub, the Feral Dog.
Yeah, we'll go to the pub.
We'll go to the pub.
Okay.
So do we know how many there are in this little group? Did you say 5?
You do know how many there are.
Yes.
You don't know which one's arm you're looking at, but if you hang out at the pub, you can see the surviving 4. You can see them kind of mooching around. So you're kind of fine hanging around in the main square. You're clear. Nobody knows about your little robbery in the jailhouse. Yeah.
Does anybody else need a rest, by the way?
Do I need a rest? That's a good question.
Because I know that there's a kind of a pressing need to move things on, but I'm kind of harmed down a half.
The hit points, I'm fine. I've got 1 spell left.
Yeah, I think Grimbold is also spelled out.
Shall we see if we can take... What time of day is it, Mike?
You decided to overnight in the cairn.
That's right.
It's a bright, crisp, sunny day with snow on the ground, and let's say it's about 10 in the morning.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to start getting into any form
And they're
of combat.
already in the pub. It's 10 in the morning. They're already in the pub.
They're mooching around the pub. The pub is their kind of base of operations. It's like the Sopranos.
Right.
These guys don't have an office. You don't know that much about them, but you do know about them. Certainly, Sessions, Grimbold, and Burple know about them because they're kind of local figures. Cullen, their leader, is a bit of a prospect. He's an albino half-orc, regarded as having a particularly bad temper, and you can see him kind of hanging around.
Do I know him?
Do you know him?
As he's
No.
also a half-orc.
I think that's a stretch.
All right.
The others are, one of them is reputed to be some kind of wizard of some sort. He's known as Merivin Bask. He and Cullen lodge at the Feral Dog itself. So basically their lives are around that pub. They sleep there. It's their office. They hang out there. The other two members of the gang are called Rastophan, who's a kind of sneaky little chap, and Torvik, who's dumb muscle. They hang around with the rest of the gang at the pub during the day. They kind of sit out on the stoop at the front most of the time. But they lodge at Yalek's Flop House, which is the cheapest set of lodgings in town, pretty much the lowest kind of point that you could reach, unless you live in a bin in the woods like Burple.
So will we be able to kind of dine for lunch or something?
You can go to the Feral Dog. There's nothing to stop you going in there. If you meet Tira,
Sessions could disguise himself.
cool.
Excuse my ignorance, but what would you do with body parts?
It's a damn fine question.
With stolen bodies?
It's a damn good question. Why on earth would they rob out remains?
So somebody must have use, either sort of medical experiments or some kind of experiments, reanimators. I'm thinking.
Well, it's general or
Necromancers.
specific, isn't it? Do they want those specific bodies or do they want bodies generally?
That's a good point. So the question is,
rest.
what would they have? We do need to rest, but we can formulate a strategy.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's going anywhere. I mean, these guys just hang out. This is where they hang out every now and again.
If it's observation and dialogue without the need to use spells or anything, we don't need to rest yet.
We can spend the day doing some research.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can slouch about. I mean, they don't pay any attention to you. Sessions, are you disguising yourself?
I don't see why you need. If you get confronted, you can say, "Oh, sorry, wasn't it? Oh, oops, my mistake."
That's true. But I probably don't want to be seen near you.
Do you reckon they'll so they don't put two and two together?
They might.
Okay.
We want to not flag anybody because we keep coming away from that cairn, and until we found a way to secure what we found, I think we want to be extra careful. How experienced do these guys look, Mike?
The gang,
Obvious question.
they look uncannily well kind of balanced against your current level of strength.
Do they?
It's almost as if Urt, the Moulder of Worlds,
Predetermined.
has somehow woven the strands of fate so that they are, for your current challenge rating, perhaps a medium to strong challenge. Yeah. Yeah. You can see them all sitting there picking spells. On the front stoop, one of them's wondering which druid circle to join.
One of them's
Claiming that they're using new spells that are the same as old spells.
Yeah. Look what I found. Yeah, prismatic orb. Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I think that we could take the arm, plonk it on the table, and say, "Look, we just want to know what you did with the bodies."
We've buried the arm.
Yeah, but we could always go.
That's a fun job.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that.
Let's draw lots to see who does that. Well, Grimbold, obviously.
Yeah, we'll send him off.
Don't laugh too
Who
loud.
needs
might
a
wake him up.
spade? He can do
Yeah.
it with his hands.
Gotta be careful not to wake him up.
So he runs into the pub, smacks Cullen round the face, and says,
Takes
"Come on
off
in."
all his clothes, rolls around on the floor.
Okay, I think We need to rest up before we, and then we need to pick a setting for the medium to high level challenge.
Hanging around the square, watching the feral dog, seeing what these guys are up to, and just generally mooching. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have to hang out together either. We can
Yeah, I
split.
mean,
You don't have to hang out together. You can do different things. You don't. Why do we always have to hang out together?
Yeah, stop following me.
That's counted as resting.
Okay. Oh, well, that's what we're going to do. I'm
So
going to.
You can snooze. You can reflect on your adventures. You can get some R&R, and at the same time, you can keep just a general eye out on the comings and goings. And what you
figure out
learn
what they're up to.
is that basically they don't really do very much. At a certain point in the afternoon, Cullen, there's the towering albino half-orc, he heads off away from the feral dog and heads off up the road. I don't know if anybody wants to see where he goes.
Sessions in his disguised version of himself.
Yeah, I could do that.
It's not difficult to follow him. It's not like he's looking out. He doesn't care, really. I mean, he does care if you go walk 5 feet behind him. But if you just,
Or next to him.
yeah, really close to him, yeah.
Talking.
If you...
So
if
we're
you-
going then.
Yeah, where are you going? Yeah. Can I join? If you mooch along, he heads. You can follow him. It's not difficult. He goes to Smenk's house, Balabar Smenk's house, which is a kind of mouldy old mansion where Smenk runs his nasty little empire from. He heads in there. He's in there for about 20 minutes. He comes out looking a bit cross, and then heads back. And when he gets back, you guys see him turn up, and the others are all out on the stoop. They're like, yeah, nah. He's like, yeah, and they're like, he's like, nah, and they're all like, oh.
Where would you leave a wagon?
Good question.
In a wagon house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a barn
There's not a
or
barn, but I mean,
stable?
it's got a stoop out front, which is where people kind of hang out. Looks out over the square. The inside is big. There are rooms in the back. You can't see all of them, but you know that the behind there's a long bar that runs across the kind of majority of the main saloon, and behind that there are kitchens and so forth. If you're in the bar when it starts to get colder in the later afternoon, after Cullen has been up to see Smenk and come back, they hang out in a corner, kind of at the bar, looking grumpy. Over in the southeast corner of the saloon is the table where the cops hang out, but there aren't any there at the moment. And there's no sign of Tira, the woman that is one of the 3 travellers, the 3 adventurers. Do you want to head round the back?
Yeah, I think it'd be worth just skulking round.
Sessions can skulk round. He can wander out the pub and skulk round to the back. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's an extended sort of annex that sticks out to the north of the main building, which is where you think they have kind of offices and the rooms in which their occasional guests will stay. And behind there, in a little waste patch like by a tree, you do in fact find a little handcart, Sessions, just kind of tucked away in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
signs of
Okay.
blood on it.
There's no signs of blood on it, no. There's a bit of scuffed earth and mud and stuff, but that's it.
Shovels.
No, there were 2 shovels abandoned at the graves at the homestead.
Right.
Same sort of earth that we saw dug out of the graves. Kind of.
Make an incredibly difficult survival check.
Survival.
Do you want me to take care of this, Graham?
Well, yeah, I'll probably have to come back and report to you that there's mud, but I can't make head nor tail of it.
Okay.
We could bring the mud back with you.
If you need,
I
if you
could
need
bring-
more
yeah.
extraordinary survival skills.
Oh, 21!
21. It's remarkably similar to the nature of mud.
Incredible. I surprised
Unbelievable.
myself with that insight. The lady is smiling on me today.
You got out your soil sample kit and the wiggled the
CSI
test
Diamond
tubes
Lake.
and-
Yeah. It does certainly shares the characteristics of the earth around the Alastor graves. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a Tuesday afternoon where it's not Tuesday. Jesus, how many times? It's the afternoon of Tonge.
Sponge.
It's a weekday. Most people are working. Only the kind of people only adventurers and people with not much to do, and the serving staff are actually in the boozer.
Yeah. And these bodies are quite old, yeah?
The remains of the Land family, most of them seem to date to about 19 years ago, which was,
Oh,
when
right,
there was
okay.
an outbreak of something called the Red Plague or the Red Death. The Red Death.
Okay, yeah, no, Sessions was just having flashbacks that he might be eating them, so...
Oh, I see. No.
No,
It's,
he's been...
yeah.
Yeah.
So the Red Death could be the could be the motivation.
Well, the Red Death sweeps through town periodically. Your mother was killed by the Red Death, Burple.
Yes, I know this, but
not
but
long
that
after
could
you
be
were
the
born.
reason why they were dug up, or it seemed it's a sort of coincidence that it happened just when we were heading back there, just before.
Again, fate is stepping in to guide us.
From a practical perspective, we
Yep.
could search the inn and
Mhm.
try and locate the bones. We could search Balabar Smenk's place and try and locate the bones. I think Balabar Smenk's place is more likely, but I think they're probably not there anymore. I think they've probably been shipped on to their destination.
The other thing about Balabar Smake's place is it's a tough nut to crack.
Right. So I think that basically our best bet is to try and get one of these guys on their own. How do we do that?
Well, to that end, what I mentioned earlier, but may have been lost, is that only 2 of them stay here. Merivin Bask and Cullen are the only 2 that actually live at the Feral Dog.
Oh, right.
And the other 2, Rastophan and Torvik, stay at Yalak's flop house, which is down the road.
Rastophan is who?
Rastophan is. Let me give you a quick tour around the dramatis personae, as it were. So, Cullen is an albino half-orc, as I've mentioned. He's legendary for his kind of rages. Rastophan is a kind of wiry goon. He's from the southern swamps. He's got long, clumpy black hair. He looks sullen. He doesn't speak very much and really just does what Cullen says. Todrick used to be a soldier before he was indentured into service in the mines, and he's fanatically loyal to Cullen as well. Short brown hair, cut in a kind of military style. He still sort of sports that kind of military look. He's got an angry red scar on the left side of his face. He says picked up during some heroic military action, but nobody knows that's true. And then the last member of the crew is Merivin Bask. He is the kind of human version of Grimbold. He's bald, he's ill-tempered, and he views every day that he's stuck in this stupid town as an absolute disgrace.
So I think that Rastophan, I think, is probably the way to go. If we could kind of sleep him, maybe.
Do we have any kind of knowledge skills that might point us in the direction of what it is they might be doing with the bodies? Why would you dig them up?
You can make some
Medical
intelligence
experiments.
Yeah, religion or arcana or something.
Make a religion. Well, make a religion check.
Oh, I've got +2 religion.
5.
Okay.
Yep, I know everything there is to know.
Yeah, I'm not really focused very much on religion.
12.
Oh,
12.
but 15?
15 is very good. Well, 12 and 15 either. It might be useful. So this isn't necessarily an information about what they might be using the bones for, but it might be an indication as to why they've been ferreting around in a kind of family grave plot. The boneyard, which is a little bit out of town, it's actually on the way out to the homestead. It's about 2-3 minutes out of town up the company road. The problem with the boneyard, which would naturally be a fantastic resource for remains, it is very kind of assiduously watched over by worshippers of the Grey Woodsman. Grey Woodsman is kind of is the god that you scare children with. He is the silence in the forest. He's the mad axeman, the feller of souls, and the bringer of death.
Okay.
So, sorry, just to clarify one thing. Do we have his remains?
Yes.
You do. You still have them with you. Yeah, in
So
a
we
bag,
can take
obviously.
we're taking his remains to his family remains.
You were hoping to bury his
Yeah.
remains with the remains of his family who are no longer there, so now you need to find their remains. It seems to be your sense of the way things are going.
But if we just sort of wind back a bit, I think we were getting some sort of geographical insight as to why.
Yes, sorry. One would imagine that if one was tasked with finding remains for whatever purpose, that's not something that your religion check has necessarily led you to the conclusion on. One would not go and try and retrieve them from the boneyard, which could get you into trouble. So perhaps that is why they've resorted to robbing out a family plot somewhere out of town.
And,
So-
and
It's
still quite
geographically,
a coincidence,
which
though,
is
isn't
the
it?
closest farmstead to town?
Oh, blimey. I don't know. Theirs is tolerably close.
Yeah. So it could just be proximity.
It could well be. I'm staying studiously quiet on whether
No,
or
no,
not.
no.
Yeah.
They could be giving the remains to a necromancer for his experiments. They could be selling the body parts for medical purposes or whatever. I don't
It's
know.
19 years.
What? Yeah, so they're or they could be a decoy for some kind of, it's just like to mislead somebody. There's a number of reasons why somebody might want bones, and I don't think we're going to necessarily figure that out without knowing about more about their plots. But the point is, we don't necessarily need to know where the bones are. We just need to reunite them. In theory, we could give the bones to Cullen and say that I think you dropped these. Just thought we'd return them.
Or we could leave them in a sort of conspicuous place so that when he's going by, it's like, oh, there's some
Yes.
handy bones. I'll have
Yeah.
them.
Put them in the handcart and see if they pick them out.
Yeah.
Oh, look, you've got those.
Yes,
That's a good. I like that.
that's not a bad idea. Leave them on the floor.
I think we could start just basic talking to them.
It's a question of how you approach it.
Well, let's
We
wait until
we
the
could
two
make
of
out
them-
that we're in the market for some bones.
Somebody make an insight check. If you're in the pub with them and you've seen them acting all day, not acting, but you've seen them around and about all day, interacting with each other and so forth.
19.
Okay, your sense, Parker, even though you're absolutely hopeless at human emotions and relations because you're a strange, emotionally atrophied weirdo, your sense is that they are in a state of sort of slight listless boredom and resentment. They seem to be a little bit unhappy about something.
So we could just generally have a chat with them, just kind of ingratiate ourselves a bit. Go and have a
Do they know me?
Do they know you? They will know of you in the same way that you, when you're at the fourth year in secondary school, you
sort
know
of-
the faces of the kids in the lower years.
I think if we all just go in and have a drink and just generally hang in the pub and be locals and just not be threatening in any way and just
Yeah, let's do that.
not be in opposition to them, have a chat, play some cards, whatever, and get to know them a bit. I'm just trying to think of what the skill would be.
Beers all round. Diplomacy, I guess.
Yeah, is there a diploma?
Deception.
Deception?
Okay, so the skills that run off charisma are deception, intimidation, performance, and persuasion. I mean, the other thing, of course, is that you just make a charisma check. You can make
I
a
have -1 in all of those.
yeah. Well,
I've got a +1. I think I get it. I think I'm going to go in, going to be in the pub. I'm going to have a drink. Just generally have a drink.
it's about 6, 7 o'clock in the evening.
Paul, you do the talking, and I'll hang at the back, keep my mouth shut, and do the insight.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm just going to. It's almost like you go into a pub. He's not there to interrogate anybody. He's going to hang at the bar, nod hello at people,
Yeah.
have a drink, and if anybody
Yeah.
comes to talk to him, we'll have a chat with them, or he'll try and get involved in a conversation if he's standing next to somebody, kind of thing.
Yeah, well, they are. They hang out at the bar.
Oh,
and the
hang
far
out at
left
the
as you
bar.
go into the salon. They sit in the saloon, and the far left as you get into the saloon, they tend to sort of cluster either stools at the bar or sit around a table in the corner. It's warming up a bit. There are some more people
I'm going to go up to the bar and buy a drink, standing next to one of them.
standing
Todrick.
next to Todrick.
Yeah, just going to buy a drink.
My friend doesn't like you.
They
Yeah.
don't particularly acknowledge you. They just kind of
The halfling cousins are going to sit at a table and start playing cards rather ineptly between themselves,
okay.
quite loudly.
Yeah.
See if it encourages anyone else to join in.
Okay. They don't engage in conversation, Cuthbert. They're just sort of looking sullen. They're not really talking between each other. They're sort of spread out. They look like they're just bored.
Are we getting any interest in our game of cards?
Well, I think if you're making a noise and it looks like money is changing hands, you might get a couple of people sort of stop idly and then realise that they've been caught standing behind so that they can see the hands. So they kind of move around. Nobody invites themselves into the game. You're kind of known, Sessions, as a card player.
Yeah.
I mean, not a particularly successful
Successful
card player,
one.
but you are known as a card player. Cuthbert's leaning against the bar, frantically trying to think of something to say.
I just want to ask him a question. Crap.
Just sitting there by himself, going, no.
No.
Have you?
No,
No.
Oh no.
After a certain amount of time, he kind of turns to you and he's like, "Is everything all right?"
No.
Want to buy a watch?
I've had a very bad day.
Really? Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Well, I haven't had the best of days.
I've nearly come a cropper.
If I could just stop you there,
What?
I'm not interested. If anybody told you you got strange eyes,
Almost daily.
well, it's not normal.
Have you looked in the mirror recently?
Be very careful what you say next, Sunshine. If you don't mind, I'm going to go back to my drink. The big lad in the corner, Cullen. Is that bloke bothering you? No, it's all right. It's just a bit weird. Cullen gets up from his, he's kind of levers himself. He's a large unit. Levers himself up from his stool. He wanders over, and he kind of stands looking at the two of you. He's clearly a bit pissed. He's slightly swayy, and he's like, "Don't start any trouble, kid. Why don't you just not stand here? There's plenty more pub for you to stand in.
Ah.
I'll leave you two weirdos together." And he wanders back and he starts chatting to the other two, Todrick and Rastophan.
Well, I mean, obviously Cuthbert doesn't know any of these people. He's not from around here. And so he turns around to the guy next to him and says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't mean any offence, but what's going on? What's his problem?"
We've not had a great time recently.
Oh, no. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm new in town, you see, so we've just come to buy up a drink.
Where are you from then? You're not from around here?
No, I'm from Evenstar.
Oh, are you now? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Explains a lot. Looks at you up and down. That explains a lot. Looks at your clothes.
Yeah, I've come to do some trading in Calamanthus, you see, so I just...
Calamanthus.
Yes.
Expensive
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, oh yeah, well, my family, we're traders, you see, so...
Yeah, well, I wouldn't know anything about that. If you want to know anything about Calamanthus, there's that chap over there, the funny green-looking chap.
Him?
He looks like he's a monk from the monastery. They know all about Calamanthus.
I don't trust monks.
Well, no, that is something that I do agree with you on. This Merivin looks at you, Cuthbert, and just looks down at his drink, which is now empty, and he says, "Oh, will you look at that?
Oh, look, I'm
You've got
new
me
in
talking,
town.
and
I'm new in town. Can I buy you a drink?"
Well, I thought you'd never ask. Yeah, I'll have a pint of Spodley's Old Peculiar, please.
I signal at the bar person.
You get a couple of pints.
Yeah.
Todrick, sullen Todrick, looks over at Rastophan. They're both within about 10 feet of you.
Yeah.
And you can hear him under his breath go, "Merivyn's got on you, mate." And Rastophan goes, "Yeah, any friend." Yeah. Merivyn takes his pint, lifts it, cheers.
Oh, cheers to you. Oh, does this make your day any better?
About this much better. And he kind of makes his hands in a span the height of the pint glass.
Oh, that's very good. So, what's been up? What went wrong? Shall I roll my charisma check at this moment?
Yeah, give me a charisma check. Just a straight old charisma check. And just don't roll anything awful.
Well, it is me, so I will roll a 7,
Okay. So
which is my standard.
It's not critically awful. That's not critically awful, but it's not good enough to change his kind of attitude to you.
I'll keep generally chatting to him about the weather and what's been going on, and even start, and then I'll buy him another drink.
Okay. Meanwhile, let's go over to the card game. Grimbold and Parker and Sessions are playing cards, and the doors of the saloon swing open. Piano player stops playing. Everybody stops talking. And in comes Tira. She's an elf. She's one of the 3 adventurers that you travelled here with, Cuthbert. So you recognise her as soon as she comes in. Sessions, you recognise her. Yeah.
Mhm.
And she wanders over, recognises you, Sessions, and kind of goes, "Oh," and then just sort of stands there and doesn't engage in conversation, but is just watching the game. But Sessions, can you make a perception check?
Yes.
Can I make a perception check as well?
You can, but Sessions is the main person.
18.
And what did you get, Sessions?
Only an 8.
Parker, 18 is good enough, even though you weren't directly involved. When you were down the sinkhole in the Whispering Cairn, you came across a body in a room with stone slabs laid out that made Cuthbert feel sleepy when he went in
Yeah,
there.
the sleepy guy room.
He was wearing red armour, and that red armour had a very specific, many-pointed star symbol on it, which Sessions recognised as being the symbol of a an outfit called the Seekers, based in Evenstar mostly, but all around, who are a sort of society of kind of tomb robbers and raiders and explorers and archivists who sort of keep themselves to themselves. She's wearing a ring at Parker, and that ring has got a little metal disc on the top, which is carved in exactly the same design.
Okay, so I nudge Sessions and try and tell him that as
Okay.
subtly as possible as I can, as a half-orc with funny eyes.
Okay. Parker, make a charisma check to see how well you can communicate wordlessly, and we'll go back to Cuthbert. Cuthbert, your friend Merivin at the bar.
Yeah.
When you get onto the second pint,
Yes.
6.
okay, so you can't communicate that to them.
The waggling of the eyebrows doesn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't do it.
We just waggle back.
Yes,
Everyone
exactly.
is waggling
Huge
eyebrows.
eyebrows. People start throwing themselves to cover.
Well, I just say it as quietly as possible, then I don't sod
Yeah.
the gestures. Just say in a low voice, check out her ring.
Oh, okay. Yeah, best keep that in a low voice. Merivin at the bar, Cuthbert says, the thing is, we lost a friend the other day.
Oh no! Where'd you lose him?
Well, I mean, we
Oh, sorry. I'm new. It's this. You lost. Right. Yes. My condolences.
thank you. I can't really tell you too much about the circumstances. He wasn't the smartest of people, but he was a member of our little crew, and it's a shame to have lost him.
Oh, that's a shame.
Scutch.
Oh, what
And he
was
lifts
his
his beer and he goes, Scutch. And all the others go, Scutch, lift their drinks.
Too soon, was it? Before his time?
He wasn't the smartest of people, perhaps about almost exactly his time.
Bang on. Bang on the time.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Is that why you're all feeling a bit down? You all look
Well,
a bit down.
that and the world sometimes, just the world seems to be against you sometimes, doesn't it?
Yeah, frequently. You haven't met my grandmother.
I mean, you work for someone, you do stuff for somebody, and then you just feel like you're being taken advantage of, don't you? Yeah, a straightforward piece of enterprise is just the sort of thing that you get us to do, but we don't like skulking about doing weird stuff, and that just seems to be our lot at the moment.
What skulking around have you got?
Well, we really shouldn't talk about it.
Oh, you can trust me. I'm just in town here to trade some calamanthus for my grandmother.
Give me a persuasion check.
I bet you it's going to be a 7. And it's going to be... Sorry. A 10.
10. Cullen speaks for us. I don't really want to talk if Cullen is not. He's the person to ask. I mean, what are you thinking that perhaps you've got something for some work for us or something?
Oh, well, I mean, I'm trying to find calamanthus to trade. I need to buy some.
Yeah.
My grandmother's sent me with quite a lot of money to try and buy this calamanthus. You know what? I can't seem to find any. And if I don't buy that, I've got to buy something else.
I could. You just sit tight for a second, and he wanders over to Cullen, who looks unhappy to be disturbed, but wearily gets to his feet and follows over. And he says, "This fella here, boss, is interested in what we've been up to recently." And Cullen goes, "Oh yeah, you're interested, are you, in what we've been up to?"
Well, I mean, I'm new at all this. I'm a trader. My family are traders. I've been sent here by my grandmother. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm a bit worried about going back home empty-handed.
A sort of look develops in his eye. He says,
It's like he's found a mark.
you're after calamanthus.
Yeah.
If you could make it worth my while,
Yeah.
I could help you out with that.
Well, I tell you what. Do you want a drink?
Oh, I'd love a drink.
By the way, guys, I don't have any money. So.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's the reverse mark trick, isn't it? Basically, they think that they're going to be able to
Get one over
lead
on
you
me.
down a blind alley and pop you over the head, but
Yeah, they might be able
hopefully
to.
will be the other way around.
We did pick up some money.
We have. I tell you what we've got in the journal. I was actually just looking at it earlier. The room with the bulls. We've got +1 scale armor, a rusted longsword, 47 gold pieces, 7 silver pieces, and 1 platinum piece.
Nice.
So we do have some
Rich.
gold.
We've got some gold, yeah.
So you would have some. So you
I
can
would have.
spend from the pot before we share it.
Yeah.
So it's one
What's this-
platinum, which is 20 gold pieces, 47 gold pieces at 67 gold pieces. What else?
7 silver.
7 silver. So that's not quite a gold piece. So let's say
Yeah.
68 gold pieces between how many of us? 5.
Yeah.
So that's 13 gold pieces each.
We've also got an elven armband.
A what armband?
Elven armband we found.
Magical.
No, it was just a nice elven armband, which we found in the wolves' lair at the beginning.
Yeah. So we can sell that for how much is that worth?
I don't know. So we got a bit, and I could just
Yeah.
keep the values low.
Why don't we each take 13 gold pieces?
Mhm.
And basically that would leave what 2 gold, 7 silver, which would cover the drinks.
Okay.
Yeah. So we've shared the money out like 13 gold each.
Okay.
So we can break the platinum piece, and that leaves 2 gold and 7 silver, which Paul can use to buy drinks and things.
Gotcha.
I want to say something. So it seems like we could do something here. What do you suggest? What do you reckoning?
Well, I mean, if you was to, how much are you wishing? How much are you looking to purchase? What's your fund?
Well, I've got an initial fund of about. I would say it's small. We just want to check the quality of it. So 10 to 15 gold pieces worth, but there'll be more available.
There's been a misunderstanding. Sorry,
Is it-
no.
Is that too small?
You can add a naught to that, I think. That's
Oh, I see.
never we're talking here.
Well, you see, we've got to check the quality.
Well, that would be part of the service. We would, you pass the money to me. I secure your merchandise. I take my cut off the top.
Oh, I see.
That's how it would work.
What
It's a long way out to that monastery.
what kind of what's your day rate?
Well, I mean, there's 4 of us,
Yeah.
and it's not so much a day rate as a piece rate or a job rate. I think that if you were to, let's say 100, if I was to be newly enriched with 100 shining gold pieces, I might find my way to finding you that kind of value worth of calamanthus, obviously with my bit chopped off the top.
What's your bit? What's your cut in this?
Well, it depends on how difficult it is to find. That's something that we would have to negotiate once we'd completed the assignment.
Well, obviously, I need to seek approval on this use of funds, but I'm sure we can do business together.
Merivin goes, what, an even star?
Yeah, just send a message.
Oh, okay then, well, and Cullen looks like it's all falling apart. He's like, oh, okay, I see, fine, right. I mean, suit yourself, but we're not going to sit around for days waiting for you to get some,
Well, there could be quite a lot of money involved. There could be thousands of gold pieces involved.
thousands.
Yeah, this is just the approval process. We just need to get through the approval process, and once we've done that, business is flowing.
Yeah, but some kind of demonstration of your liquidity would go a long way to making us feel that we were on board with this new venture that we've decided to involve ourselves with.
I think that's very fair. I don't have a problem with that. Why?
That's a nice sword.
Do you mean my sword of the heirloom sword of the East Wind? I could never part with that. It's belonged to my mother, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, great-great-grandmother.
So it's a woman's weapon. That's what you're saying.
You haven't met my grandmother.
You get the sense from him is that he will, almost at the point of talking to you about what it is that they're so fucked off about their current work situation, but that they aren't just going to start talking to any old person. There's got to be a relationship. There's got to be some
Yeah.
kind.
Yeah, no, I get that. I just need to be able to find about 150 gold pieces in order to get that to happen, and I don't have that.
Do we need any more information?
Are you ready to go and do something else then?
Yeah.
Are you removing yourself from this conversation, Cuthbert, or are you?
Yeah, no,
persisting?
I'm gonna say, it's very nice to meet you. Look, I'll check a few things out, and if anything comes of it, I'll be in contact with you.
All right, then you go and do your thing. We'll you know where to find us.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice to meet you guys. And then I'll walk out the bar.
Okay, fine.
I'll leave it a
Should we
couple of
follow?
minutes. I'll leave it a couple of minutes and follow.
Yeah.
And you pile out into the freezing cold night, where there are some drinkers, some people milling about, but it's generally quiet. It's about, you've been in the bar for about, well, I think I got the sense there that took place over about 2 or 3 pints. So
Yeah.
it's probably sort of 9-ish.
Okay.
Okay. I think that they were commissioned by Balabar Smenk to go and find the body parts. They think it's a bit weird. They're not really sure what it is, but they did it, and now the body parts were given to Balabar Smenk. I'm not. They might know a bit about what he planned to do with them or what they were for, a bit more, but I doubt they know very much.
Yeah, presumably digging up some graves, even for the hardest of nuts, isn't
It's
It's
not
not good
particularly
work, is it?
tasteful.
particularly
not good work.
pleasing, is it?
Yeah. So basically, they're a bit pissed off about that.
Yeah.
They lost a guy doing it as well, which makes it even worse.
When the phrase that Merivin used was weird business.
Yeah, weird business.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
Yeah.
why are we getting this? This is it's a bit creepy.
Mhm.
So Balabar Smenk is our target, I reckon.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But he's
with you on that.
much more tricky.
Where do we know where Belabar Spank lives?
Yes, because
Yeah, he lives in a kind of sodden old mansion, rather past its prime, just a little bit away from the centre.
so the likelihood is there's more magic protection and stuff around this house. So it's a little bit more of a scary proposition.
Certainly a more scary proposition. Yeah.
We could take on these guys and try and, basically force it out of them.
Somebody make an intelligence check.
14.
Yeah, 14 is good enough. You reckon that Todrick and Rastophan, who stay at the flop house, these guys will be drinking in here for an hour or so, but at a certain point they'll probably stagger off out, but either singly or together, they'll stagger off home. So if you wanted to get somebody separate or two of them separate, that would be the time.
Yeah. So which plan do we think, guys?
I think we get the two guys who aren't Cullen.
I think going. I think
There's ramifications if we let them
we can
live.
always come back to these guys. I think we should case out the.
You've got an hour and a half. Yeah, you could walk up to the
Let's
Smenk
use
house.
that. Yeah, let's
I mean,
do
if
that.
we.
An hour and a half to just
Okay.
case the Smenk house.
The saying with Smenk is that his door is always open. Is his little phrase, his little catchphrase. But even though the door is technically open at the front of his house all the time, there are guys hanging around in the evening more than usual. There are a few thugs kind of patrolling around the streets around his house. When you followed Cullen up sessions, you saw them, but during the day they were not so bothered, and they recognised Cullen, and he just walked past them. You didn't get too close to the house, so you didn't really draw their particular attention. If you wander up together at night, they seem a bit more frosty. They don't confront you if you just walk into the street and are just looking at the house from a distance. But when you start to get a little bit closer, they start to look a little bit more twitchy. You can hear something as well from inside the house. You can hear a kind of roaring, kind of bestial noise from inside the house, and a sort of clanging, like the sound of something like a metal ring around a metal pole being kind of clanged backwards and forwards. That's kind of issuing from the door. So there's lights on inside. So light spills out from the door of the mansion out into the kind of front yard.
Great. Let's just attack it from the front. Just go in with some,
You don't know if Smenker's at home. I mean, he spends his evenings out in town often, but it is only Tonge, so it's perfectly possible that he's just in. But
That was him.
say again.
That was him. The
Who was him?
bestial noise.
Oh, could be. It's not your understanding of him. He's a sort of slightly podgy, florid figure with he's bald-headed with sort of quite extravagant side whiskers that sort of stick all the way out, and he dresses in a sort of dandyish way. He's generally
Nice.
regarded as a first-class shit.
So we could try sneaking in, but I reckon there's magical defense. I think we go after those two guys.
Just to recap ourselves, which ones go where?
So of the four,
Mm-hmm.
Cullen, the leader, and Merivin, who's you think is some kind of spellcaster or wizard, they live at the Feral Dog. And the other two, Todrick, he says, he's ex-army kind of thug, and Rastophan, who is the kind of matted, dark-haired, gangly goon, they live at the flop house.
And the other three are all humans.
They're all humans. want to give it a go?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't. I mean, we don't even necessarily have to attack him or kidnap him. We can just
No.
Why do-
bump into them. I've got a couple of bottles of hard liquor on me, and we can have a drink. Go and sit in the marketplace.
Well, if you hang around outside the pub for long enough, I'm just going to roll and see whether or not they leave together. Friend, guide, storyteller, Ort, builder of worlds, rolls the dice of fate. On a 1 or a 2, Todrick leaves first. On a 3 or a 4, Rastophan leaves first. And on a 5 or a 6, they leave together. It's a 5 or a 6. So the two of them stagger out, unsteady on their feet, muttering between themselves, slightly propping each other up. And they stagger out into the vein, and they stagger out into the street and up one of the side streets on the way to the flop house. You can follow them at a distance. You know the way to the flop house. You can set yourselves up.
I'm trying to intercept them with a bottle of whatever hard liquor I can find, and kind of as if I've just bumped into them and go,
So you're buying a bottle of behind the bar, something at the pub. Or
yeah,
something?
just
Mhm.
something pretty fiery.
Cross off
And-
one silver piece.
Okay,
Mm.
and it's like I'll kind of intercept them as if it's by chance I'm on my way somewhere else or something.
Uh-huh.
It's like, oh, hello again. How are you? Oh, look what I got. Do you fancy?
you again.
Oh, look at this.
Yeah.
Quick
Before
nightcap.
he does that, I'm going to cast guidance on him.
On Cuthbert. Yep. What are the rest of you doing? Are you following, making, encircling, waiting? What are you doing?
I'm skulking.
Yeah, so I'm going to give him guidance. Yeah,
Mhm.
and then when he makes his approach,
Mm-hmm.
as soon as he engages in conversation,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to cast Charm Person on one of the two of them.
Okay. So you're standing at a bit of a distance.
Yeah, about 30 foot away.
Okay. So they see you, Cuthbert, and they sort of look not particularly happy to see you, as in, oh, it's him again, funny stranger. So, oh, what do you want? What's the DC of the saving throw sessions?
Yeah, good question. 12. It's 12.
Okay, that's not necessarily the end of the world. Which one are you going for? Rastophan, the wiry goon guy, or Todrick, the thug?
The wiry goon guy.
Is it a wisdom save?
Yes, it will be.
It's a wisdom save. Okay. Let's just see how we do. Failed. You
Rolled a
failed that
20.
save, Graham.
Mm-hmm.
Do you step out and say anything?
Yeah, then I will stroll up. Well, I will stagger up to what I see as a bottle of
Mm-hmm. Alcohol.
alcohol being shared out and embrace the opportunity to have a free drink and start talking to everyone.
Well, Todrick is still looking leery. Rastophan is like, I know you don't,
Yeah.
are you, little hobbit? Yeah, where are you from? You're from local, aren't you?
This guy looks like he's got some booze. Shall we have some?
Oh, well, it's a very cold night. Let's have a yeah. So, what have you been keeping then? What's your? I'm sorry, I've forgotten your name.
His sessions.
Sessions. That's right. Good old Sessions. My old pal Sessions. Todrick's like, look, mate, I don't think we should be. It's like, oh, relax, mate, relax, Todrick, relax. Let's just have a drink. It's freezing anyway. They're kind of stamping in the cold and kind of wrapping their, doing that thing where you wrap your arms around you and kind of stamp and whatever, and the breath is misting in front of them. Let's have a drink. Let's have a drink. And Sessions here, good old Sessions, our pal. So you know Sessions, don't you, Todrick? Todrick's like, I think I know the face, but I don't know him properly. No.
And we try and move the conversation towards what everyone's been doing as we drink. What have you been up to? Anything fun?
Oh, we've been up to all sorts of strange stuff. We've been.
Strange stuff.
I
There's
mean,
so little to do here.
I-
It's interesting.
Todrick's like, careful now. But Rastofan's like, I mean, yes. I mean, it's all about, you work for somebody, and don't get me wrong. I mean, Balabar Smenk is a fine, upstanding man. He's a fine, upstanding man.
Let's drink to Balabar.
Yeah, well, yeah, it is. And you pass the bottle around, but it's just he does ask you to do some strange things sometimes. I mean, just the other day, I mean, what is going on with that up to the old observatory with all those bones? Todrick's like, Rastophan, I thought we just don't talk. Cullen won't be happy if you're talking about it. He's like, yeah, don't you worry. Sessions is an old pal. Going up to the old observatory, that strange old man up there with his weird experiments and stuff, and taking or like digging out bones. I mean, you know, do you remember Scutch sessions? Do you remember old Scutch? Not the smartest. Anyway, we lost him. It's very sad.
Very
Roderick
sad.
grabs hold of Rastophan at that point and says, we're off. We better be going home now, old mate. We better be going home. You're talking too much." And he starts to kind of lead him away. And Rastophan's like, "Well, it's no from his sessions. He's an uncle. He's an old friend."
We make sure they leave with the bottle.
Okay, and they stagger
So
off.
The observatory.
Yeah, well, there is an old observatory outside town.
Off we go.
Yeah, off to the observatory we go.
It's on a bluff overlooking an abandoned mine. There's a white slot that bisects a domed tower where there once must have been a great telescope that kind of peered into eternity. But now the place has kind of got a dark character. It's a perfectly clear, crisp winter's night with a dome of stars over your heads. You're looking up at the bluff at this structure set above. It's got a kind of squat lower story and then a tower with the observatory dome at the top.
And is it our understanding that it's not deserted?
Well, it's certainly your understanding is that it's been deserted, but it's odd that there are lights on.
Hmm.
I think I need to do some sneaky stuff. So I'm going to stealthy up there.
Okay. There is a set of stairs running up one side of the structure to a door set into the wall sort of further up. There's also a little door set into like an under the stairs cupboard, like a kind of Harry Potter cupboard. There's a little doorway set at the base of the landing that the stairs lead up to that might lead into a space that sits under the stairway.
Okay. Well, I'll go up to that doorway first, and
Okay.
I think I'll do, if it's all right with you, I'll do a perception check.
Where are the rest of you hanging out? So it sits on a bluff.
Well, I'm thinking I want to sort of skirt once around the building, see if there's a back entrance.
There's not much. It looks like you might be able to get in through some of the windows on the tower if you could get onto the
Okay.
roof of the lower story. Yeah?
Okay.
And in terms of where we see lights,
There is pale light issuing from a couple of windows on the ground floor. Yeah? The first floor is dark. At the top floor, there are lights flickering. Make a perception check. All of you.
I roll a fabulous 5.
13.
10, and for Grimbold,
5.
-1. Okay.
13 is enough to
11.
To tell you, Parker, that what you think is happening is that there may be torchlight or candlelight issuing from the windows on the top story, but that something is moving around up there, which is what's making the light flicker.
So the lights are fixed, but they're getting
Mm.
blocked.
You'd naturally expect a certain amount of flicker from torch or candlelight, but there's something more going on. There's dark shadows pass backwards and forwards across the windows periodically.
Well, I guess we go up to the door and have a listen.
Who wants to go up to the door and who wants to stay down at the ground level? So you're approaching from the south, and you can be standing on the pathway that runs around the front of the building that leads to the staircase. Who wants to go up the stairs?
Well, there was a door underneath the stairs, you say.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go there and I'm going to roll a perception check to listen.
Mm-hmm.
Getting an astonishing 16, the highest roll for months.
You can't hear anything.
What a brilliant roll.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Wasted it.
Pick your
Just
moments.
wasted.
Months.
Months.
Months and months to listen at an empty broom closet. Yeah.
What's the door mechanism?
It looks like a kind of pretty rudimentary wooden door, but it is locked, and the lock doesn't look like it's trivial.
I have got my thieves' tool, so I'm going to attempt to pick the lock.
Okay, give it a shot. What'd you get?
15.
15 is not enough. You twinkle around, you tinker around with this lock with your tools. You try and click the tumblers with a little metal sliver or something. It's not going.
Can I try again?
Mm-hmm.
Getting enormous. I give up. I give up rolling dice.
What'd you
No,
get?
I've rolled a 12.
And 12 is not enough either. So it's not happening.
Can I have a go?
Sure. So is Parker moving up to join him?
Yes, I'll move up to join him. I have the same proficiency. I also have a +2.
And you've got thieves, picks, and tools.
Well, I can use his.
You can borrow mine.
And have you got the tool proficiency?
Which one is that?
Well, it's a specific thing that your class gives you or your
By having-
background. If you chances are you haven't got
I
it. which-
don't. No.
So you'll just be adding your dexterity to the roll
And not my proficiency bonus. I understand.
and or the tool bonus. So you just be
So I
rolling
can add
straight.
+4,
Mm-hmm.
right? The tools
Mhm.
were 2, and my
No, the tools that you don't add the tools because
Just
you're
your
not,
dexterity.
I have to use them, but I don't get them. So I just have
Yes.
my
open-
dexterity bonus, right?
you can't
Yes.
open a lock without a lockpick, but you don't really know anything about
Yeah.
lockpicks. So you're just giving it a shot.
God, it's gonna
Right. So I just get +2.
be- yeah, you're still going to
I
beat
think
me.
there might be a rule about rolling at disadvantage, but anyway, it
Thank
doesn't matter.
God for that.
So that
What'd you get?
5.
Okay, so no, it defeats you.
I'm going to try one last time,
Hmm.
if that's okay.
What are the others doing while this is happening?
hanging around.
No, I get a
The
1.
little bit of the little metal lockpick that you've got in there just goes and breaks off.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Just,
I think
It's going to cost you 8 gold pieces to
It's
repair.
just embarrassing.
They only sell them as complete units, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Just embarrassing.
You can't just replace that one. So
It's
yeah, it's
25
very
gold
expensive.
pieces they cost.
Grimbold, I think, will follow the flowchart of action and take his first action, which is false life.
Yeah. Okay. So Grimbo casts Force Life on himself, and you're all. So I've got Parker and Cuthbert crouched in the lee, as it were, of the staircase up against this little wooden door, and then Grimbold and Cuthbert and Burple are what? They're loitering around at the bottom of the stairs, or what are they doing?
Burple's going to do bardic inspiration on somebody. Who wants bardic inspiration?
You could go into town, find somebody.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll go and basically get someone out of a sleeping bag. No, I will do it on myself then if nobody wants it.
What does it give?
It gives you an extra d6 on an action on skill checks. saving
now you say.
throws.
Yeah, would have been
Attack
useful
rolls.
for the lockpick.
Would have been
Yeah,
useful,
but
that.
you went first. You didn't consult, so I'm afraid I wasn't ready. But now
Hmm.
you're over there and I'm up here, so I can't do you because it's touch.
Typical.
Actually, it's not true. I can do it through words or music within 60 feet. I can choose
Exactly.
a feature.
That's
A
going to make a
feature
bit of
within
noise,
60
though.
It is going to make a bit of noise, which is why I was thinking of doing it sort of in the local group.
Yeah, a little whisper,
As 'twere.
as 'twere, twixt lip and cup and dibbly dummy. Right, so what do you... Hey, nonny, nonny.
Egads.
Zoons, sire.
Forsooth. It's true.
What are you going to do?
I'm doing that. I want to go up the stairs.
Okay, so
I'll give the blessing
Quietly.
of trickster to Burple to help him
Thank
go
you.
up the stairs.
okay,
yeah.
yes, make your stair climb check.
Which is what?
No, the stairs are. It's a stairs lead to a wide landing, and at the top, Purple, there are two huge wooden doors. They are shot through with a kind of dark blue mold. It doesn't look like it's a kind of dangerous mold. It just looks like it's sort of accreted on the surface of the doors. And the doors form a kind of an enormous round moon, carved with a kind of like a lunatic's jabbering face.
Okay, that's encouraging.
Right. I'll go back down the stairs. No, I will.
Come on.
Mold. Mold is always bad.
Make a perception check.
Make a perception check. It's that one. 11.
You think that the lock on these doors doesn't look
Yeah.
quite so, what's the word, formidable as the lock on the little wooden door downstairs.
Fisher Price lock.
So so I'll basically drop a little pebble on Paul's head
Yep.
to grab his attention and kind of point.
Ow!
I'll throw something really hard. In fact, I'll take
Yeah.
my sword out, point down,
Yeah.
drop it.
Yeah, Damocles style.
Yeah.
Okay, so you grab Cuthbert's attention.
Point at the lock.
I'll shrug my shoulders and make my way up there.
Okay.
I will do my bardic inspiration, my
Well,
second bardic
I'll
inspiration. on
follow
him
Cuthbert if that's the case.
quietly.
And Grimbold and Sessions are doing what?
I guess we'll move to the bottom of the stairs and prepare to follow them up.
Okay. Cuthbert, once you get to these doors, you're
Yeah.
faced with a lock. It looks, like I said, a little bit less formidable than the lock that you've just been trying to open. I will say that your thieves' picks and tools are functional for the moment. You use a different sprong or something.
I'll use a different sprong, and I will roll my first roll is a 16.
Click. It opens.
Lovely. Stealth. Shall I roll a stealth check now?
Yeah, make a stealth check. Make
gonna
it as
roll a
part of that. Yep.
Roll a stealth check and see if I can open the door quietly. No, I can't. I get an 8.
You get an 8. It's not the end of the world, but it's not super quiet. Let me show you what you can see.
I will also do my shillelagh, my staff.
Okay. So, first things first. What light sources have you got, or what vision do you have?
I have dark vision.
You've got dark vision. Okay. So you open up a room. It looks like some sort of entrance hallway.
Mm-hmm.
You can see furniture fragments, smashed planks, there's broken glass, other detritus, kind of cramming this antechamber. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the way that you're looking at things, the far corner from you, as it were, to your right, as you're looking through the door, there are several upended tables that make a kind of barricade. On the north wall, you think there might be, behind the barricade, you can see the top of an archway that might mean that there is a door behind that barricade. Can you give me, who's with you?
Burple Herpish, unless he's skulked away in his normal cowardish fashion.
And Parker and my.
So can Burple, Parker, and Cuthbert all make perception checks?
A 5, absolutely pitiful.
10. I'm pleased if I get double
Okay.
digits these days.
Okay.
5.
We're all bumping into each other.
So you can't hear anything apart from what might be the faintest sound of singing, which seems to be coming from further inside the building. It's quite faint. It's sort of echoing down through staircases.
Male or human or female voice?
It's like a male whispering voice, and it's singing, and you kind of think you might be able to pick out the words. And they're like, reincarnate him, sew him back together. It's all echoing down. On the druid's table.
On the
Reincarnate him. Play him as a lobster. On the druid's table. And as those words echo down through, and you pick them up from the landing, the kind of barricade of tables and furniture just bursts out, and leaping out from behind it come 3 skeletons. And we'll pick it up next time.
Oh, brilliant.
Reincarnate him.
Sew him back together on the druid's table. Different order.
Splendid.
I feel another
Right.
song coming on.
The Billowing Hilltop podcast is a Billowing Hilltop production. Dungeons & Dragons is a trademark of Wizards of the Coast. The Whispering Can and The Age of Worms are copyright Paizo. The Whispering Can was written by Eric Mona. Music is from Kevin MacLeod and Incompetech.com and is used with thanks under the Creative Commons license. Additional music and sound effects come from the wonderful Sirenscape. All other original material is copyright Billowing Hilltop. Role-playing games are all about getting people together, and we use Roll20 as our tabletop, the perfect place to host your game, and Discord to host our chat. Thanks for listening!